on March 26, 2024, at 1:28 a.m. local time. The Francis Scott Key Bridge in Maryland, USA, collapsed after a container ship collided with one of its support piers. 6 members of a bridge repair crew were on the bridge at the time and fell into the river. 2 bodies have been recovered, and the remaining 4 are presumed dead, according to experts. The closure of the Patapsco River waterway due to the bridge collapse is causing an estimated loss of $15 million per day. The insurance damage is estimated at $24 billion. The container ship MV collided with the bridge. Welcome to another exclusive episode on Rare Data TV, where we uncover the extraordinary and delve into the depths of significant events shaping our world. Today, we bring you a gripping tale of tragedy and resilience as we recount the fateful events surrounding the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Maryland, USA. Dolly departed from the port of Baltimore at 12:44 a.m. on March 26, scheduled to arrive in Colombo, Sri Lanka. Security camera footage from 1:24 a.m., 4 minutes before the collision, shows Dolly on the left side of the screen, heading towards the bridge. At this time, vehicles are still crossing the bridge normally. Suddenly, all the lights on the ship flashed and then turned off completely. This indicates that the ship had lost engine power, electronics, and most of its steering ability. This lasted for about 60 seconds, causing the ship to lose control and drift slowly out of the shipping channel between the 2 buoys on the river. A short time later, black smoke was seen coming from the chimney, indicating that the backup generator had started. However, the propulsion engine was completely lost at 1:26 a.m. The Maryland Department of Transportation was notified by the ship's crew of the incident and the possibility of a collision. Traffic was prohibited from crossing the bridge from both directions 30 seconds before the collision. Following protocol, the captain dropped the anchor to prevent the collision, but with the immense inertia of the ship, nearly the length of 3 football fields and loaded with containers, it still lumbered towards the Francis Scott Key Bridge, to the helplessness and despair of those on board. At 1:28 a.m., the ship hit the bridge's support pier at a speed of approximately 8 knots, equivalent to 15 km. 4 seconds later, the steel bridge fractured into multiple segments and collapsed completely. The Francis Scott Key Bridge is a continuous truss bridge built in 1977. It is called a truss bridge because it is supported by a steel truss frame consisting of a series of rigidly connected triangular blocks. It is called continuous because this steel frame extends continuously along the entire length of the bridge, helping to distribute the load evenly throughout the structure. Contrary to what some people may think, the steel bridge in Baltimore looked flimsy and weak. However, continuous truss bridges are renowned for their strength and load-bearing capacity. They are connected by triangular frames, and the triangle is the strongest shape in the world. Any load placed on a triangle is evenly distributed to all 3 of its sides. The triangle represents geometric strength, and even the incredibly strong arch structures we often praise are just a weaker version of the triangle. In addition, continuous truss bridges allow for crossing large rivers without the need for additional columns or support structures in the middle of the span. The total length of the Francis Scott Key Bridge is 2,632 meters, and the main span of the Francis Scott Key Bridge is 366 meters, making it the 3rd longest continuous truss span in the world, after the Astoria Megla Bridge in the US and the Akitsuki Bridge in Nagasaki, which are 376 meters and 400 meters long, respectively. However, the Francis Scott Key Bridge also had design flaws. It is not entirely accurate to call them flaws. It seems that the engineers designed this important bridge with a defense system that was too weak to protect the piers from rogue ships. The engineers came up with a 2-layer defense system. The first layer consisted of dolphins, which are concrete pillars driven deep into the riverbed in front of and behind the pier to deflect oncoming ships or absorb the impact of a collision instead of the pier. The second layer of defense was the fender, which is similar to the bumper of a car. And just like a car bumper, the fender can only withstand collisions with small boats. The fender system on the Francis Scott Key Bridge was even too small to be clearly visible from a distance. The fenders of many other large bridges are much more sturdy, larger, and more prominent. Meanwhile, the 300-meter-long container ship weighing 100,000 tons hit the pier with a force equivalent to about 20,000 tons. It is also worth noting that at the time the bridge was built over 55 years ago, cargo ships were much smaller. The engineers did not design the bridge to withstand a direct hit from a large ship like the MV Dolly. To put it in perspective, when fully loaded with containers, the ship weighs the equivalent of 20,000 adult African bush elephants or 10 Eiffel Towers. History has shown that the Francis Scott Key's defenses were inadequate. In 1981, a Japanese freighter also hit a pier of the bridge, tearing off a 10-meter section of fender. However, it only shook the concrete of the pier. This means that the Francis Scott Key Bridge was not adequately protected by today's standards. According to a 2018 report, there were 35 collisions that led to the collapse of major bridges between 1960 and 2015. It is also from these accidents that modern bridges today have become much safer. They have larger spans, and the piers are further apart, reducing the risk of collisions. The dolphin piles are made larger and spaced closer together, and the fenders are also enlarged and redesigned to be more robust. Combined with super large, super strong pier reinforcement, it is enough to withstand any type of ship when needed. In addition, some artificial islands are built around the piers to cause ships to run aground and stop quickly, dissipating their kinetic energy. Advances in positioning and navigation technology have also significantly reduced accidents caused by human factors. Thank you for watching Rare Data TV.